So the next thing I wanted to talk about was both the adult initial interview that Kathy filled out and the KELS or partial KELS that she did. So I've highlighted some things that I thought were important. One is the date that Kathy put down. She put it down, it was 1963. We don't really know when this case study was written, but I doubt it was 1963. The other thing is about her date is she only puts the year and doesn't put a full date. So it's telling you she's not really reading very carefully, or she's not paying enough attention to detail to actually write the correct form. The next thing I thought was interesting about what she filled out, other than, she leaves a lot blank. She doesn't know her birth date. So she took the time to fill it out, but put a question mark. Doesn't know her birth date, but then did put a specific number for years of school completed. We don't know if that's accurate or not because we don't know much about Kathy, but it's pretty unusual to not know your birth date, but know how many years of school you've completed. So I thought that was interesting. What does that mean? Well, I'm not sure, but I think if I were the therapist seeing Kathy, I would maybe keep an eye out for that possibly being a value of education or knowledge being a value to her. I don't know. Or a sense of pride that she completed 10 years of school. I'm not sure. But it's just something that I thought was unusual and I'd point out. The other thing is she knows that she came to the hospital. The police brought her. So even though she needed orienting from the therapist as to where she was at, she knew that the police brought her there. Okay. What do you do in your free time? She put none, as in she doesn't do anything. So whether that's true or not, it does give you information. Like we can say at this point that we really don't know that much about Kathy in terms of when we're going to go fill out the first part of the intervention plan. The 3 words that she uses to describe herself, I am dead. So she truly believes that she's dead. She knows her name's Kathy, but she thinks Kathy's dead, so I'm not sure how she would explain that because we don't get a chance to ask her. So what she wants to accomplish or change, okay, when you're looking for strengths, you have to, I know it's hard to do with Kathy, but there's a value in here. So she wants to die in peace. I'm sure there's some sort of delusion about she thinks she's dead and people aren't letting her just be dead, possibly. But one strength is she does have a goal here. She wants to find a home. We know she's homeless, which we find out when we read the KELS, but she wants to find a home. And that might be something that we could maybe build on. So when we look at the checklist that is on the back of, and I don't have that here necessarily, when we look at the checklist, she really only endorses one thing, and that is that she forgets things lately, okay? When you look at everything else that's on that checklist and that she doesn't endorse, and you compare it with what the KELS is telling us, that's also in something giving you information in terms of her insight. We don't know if she doesn't know it or she just didn't take the time to fill it out, or it's difficult to concentrate and so she doesn't do a good job of filling it out. But either way, it doesn't match what the KELS is telling us, or at least the first part of the KELS that they were able to complete. So they started the KELS in the hospital room. Her hair was dirty. She's disheveled. She's got dirty nails. She has body odor. They did note that she's homeless, and so she would likely have decreased access to hygiene facilities. But I'm sure they have hygiene facilities at the facility. And so if it was strictly access, then she probably would have done some sort of improvement there. Okay. Other things that may possibly be strengths that folks were emailing me on not sure what to put for strengths. She's actively psychotic, and yet she still is able to get 2 out of 4 correct on the dangerous household situations. She was able to identify 1 correct action for if she got a cold. She had independent knowledge of emergency numbers. She didn't know where the medical and dental facilities were, but she's homeless. She knew she used a free clinic, but didn't know the name of it. So those are all giving you a little bit of information as to where her thinking is. She does have some knowledge that she's able to access still, despite being pretty actively psychotic. So the other thing that might speak towards some of where her mind is, she asked to stop the Kells because she couldn't concentrate. And so they stopped at that point. I'm sure they'll come back to it, but I wanted to go over that just to give you guys a little bit more assistance in trying to figure this out. Kathy's not all that unusual in terms of a psychiatric client, but a little more difficult when you're new to the process of intervention planning. So this is a little bit of help to kind of get you started on that. And the next video will go through a few spots on the intervention plan.